It's officially that time, folks. It is officially Juan Soto watch. So if you haven't already, make sure you strap in, buckle up, and get ready for the ride. I'm your conductor, Wardy, here, and we're going to get into all the latest in Mets land on the Soto front, having everything to do with some really interesting rumblings that came out late last night, which has a lot of fans, including myself, thinking, did the Mets already offer Juan Soto a 15-year, $700 million contract? Where was this potentially leaked from? Everything in between is what we're about to break down and live react together as Mets fans, whoever you're a fan of. So thank you guys so much for smashing a like and subscribe on as your first chime in. We'll get into that along with the other connections with Soto, this time to the Boston Red Sox. Are things looking in favor or against Boston's favor outside of what we highlighted in last night's live show? Thank you so much for checking that out as well. Let me know your initial reactions in the comments down below, everybody. And before we get into our live show later this evening with Mets beat writer Will Salmon, who does a fantastic job there through The Athletic, thank you so much for also hearing a quick word from our amazing sponsor here at BetUS. Because for those that don't know BetUS, everybody, BetUS has you covered with all your sports betting needs. Head over to betus.com.pa today, folks. That way you too can use Wardy's promo code YouTube150. That way you get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, $125 on your second and your third, up to $2,000 for whatever your sports betting needs may be. And it's UFC 310 this weekend, everybody. It is fight weekend for all my MMA fight fans out there, including myself. We've talked a lot on the Juan Soto sweepstakes odds over the past couple days. Let's now hammer my 4-leg parlay that you guys can tail, but please know I'm not a sports betting expert, just a diehard fan, big fight fan as well, that I'm really excited for this weekend's card, because we're going to have Kai Askra, who's making his UFC debut there, going up against Pantoja there, which I'm really excited about, and I do think Kai is going to surprise some fans, and I have him at the money line underdog at plus 200, pairing there with Shavkat, who I really think is going to take care of Ian Gary without a problem, at minus 380 there on the money line. Cyril Gahn is going toe-to-toe with Alexander Volkov, but I like Gahn's odds there, along with what we're going to have in Most Far, who's going up against, yes, Aljamain Sterling, the former champ. And as much as I love Aljo, I really do, again, working in Long Island camp, love everything about it, New York native, I do think he's going to falter in this matchup, however. So we're doing a 4-leg parlay, folks. That's $10 to win you a total turnout right around north of 150 should everything hit. Good luck to everyone that tails. And again, please know, not a betting expert, just a diehard fan that loves to place daily bets here at BetUS. But now, folks, let's hop back into this one and let's get into the latest rumblings with Juan Soto and the Mets, potentially 15 years, $700 million. Now, let me start off by saying that this is the worst kept secret of Major League Baseball. We've all anticipated and have expected the Mets to try to top any and every offer for Juan Soto. As we described in last night's live show, and we will reiterate that again here, there is common belief that the Mets will have the final say in Juan Soto when it comes to bidding, at least, where they may have the final offer as the team with the most and the highest willingness to spend. Now we get into what has transpired over this past night that I find very fascinating and interesting. And I would also like to preface that while this is a unique situation, this is exactly why I did not headline the video as breaking news. The Mets have officially offered this and this and that, because again, I do not want to step on any toes should this not be completely accurate, but there's a lot of reasons to believe why it feels unbelievably accurate. And let's start here to the left. This all comes from the comments section and Bleacher Report's walk-off TikTok account over the past couple of days. They had a post on where Juan Soto is going to go. Someone comments in the chat, Soto to Sox, and then someone by the name of Adrian replies, Mets offer him $700 million over 15, so no. He also follows up and says, do you not know who I am, or do you know who I am? And to look further at the account of this young individual, we see Adrian M2864. We then go on to see in his account that his profile photo is him presumably with Carlos Mendoza and someone else. Two kids there in a candy shop, right? It feels a lot like this is Carlos Mendoza's son. There's also videos on this TikTok account, which has since been deactivated, but I can tell you, again, full truth, I went on the account yesterday when I first saw this come across Twitter. I went on TikTok, I went in the comments section, I went onto his account. The screenshots you are seeing are my active screenshots from late last night, as you see, 12:03 a.m. Eastern. Since then, the account has been deactivated earlier this morning, and it makes sense as to why. This feels abundantly clear that this is, yes, Adrian Mendoza, Carlos Mendoza's son, who I believe is around the age of 12, which is, again, very unfortunate that things are coming to light this way, which is what led to the deactivation of the account. He was feeling confident, a little cocky about his Mets, obviously, if you heard this information. Not ideal to relay it out there, but the damage has already been done. And what we also saw in the account was that he has videos of him, again, warming up and doing practice with Francisco Lindor in a setting that you really can't have unless you have some type type of privileged situation, like, for example, being the son of Carlos Mendoza. Furthermore, if you look at the account handle at Adrian M2864, Adrian is one of the son's names of Carlos Mendoza. The other is Andres, just for some context. M would stand for Mendoza. 2864, 28 was the number that Carlos Mendoza had as he bench boss there for the Yankees the past number of years, and 64 is his current number now as the Mets manager. So that's all you guys need to know there on the latest when it comes to Juan Soto and a potential contract offer. Yes, you heard that correctly. Carlos Mendoza's son himself may have been the one to leak this information, but because, again, we don't know with utmost certainty, this is still a level of speculation, because there's three ways to go about this. This is A, Carlos Mendoza's son, clear-cut Carlos Mendoza's son. From everything that I saw on the account yesterday, I'm led to believe that that is his son until proven otherwise. Secondly, did someone go out of their way to make a fake Carlos Mendoza's son's account just to cause a stir like this? I just don't foresee that to be the case. Not that people can't do those things, because they certainly can. That'd be crazy if that is in fact true, but I think there tells more here on the fact that he said in confidence on that post how he felt. It blew up, and then we find out this morning that the account has since been deactivated. Usually that happens when you get caught, and certainly I'm sure he had a conversation with his dad about it, and hopefully it didn't go over too bad. It was interesting. I did see Zach Scott, former Mets GM, speak about leaks in the public eye and how front offices perceive them, and he was asked, are there circumstances where when a leak gets out, people get in trouble? And he says, in general, it creates an awkwardness, but it depends on the circumstance. Sometimes, depending on the front office, they may be really stubborn and try to find who leaked it and to try to punish them in some way, shape, or form, and others, they really just brush past it, but they're obviously not happy about the situation. So that is, again, why I'm not making this a breaking news headline or anything of that nature, that this is for certain the case, because one, I'm not trying to stir something in which, it could create greater problems. Not that it creates at all problem in the case of the Mets in their circumstance, because I know the common belief and understanding that fans had last night was, Wardy, does this mean that the Mets are losing leverage? Is this going to hurt their chances? I don't see any realm of possibility how this hurts the Mets' chances, because, again, this is the worst kept secret in Major League Baseball. We have known time and time again, the common belief has been the Mets are looking to be the top bidder for Juan Soto. They're willing to go as much as it takes, even if it gets a $700+ million. Color me surprised. We might see a deal right around 15 years, $700+ million to land a generational talent of Juan Soto, in which he is trying to land right now. So whether it's going to be with the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox, who have you at the end of the day, it is abundantly clear right now that it's looking like it's going to not only reach $700 million, but it may surpass $700 million. As we know, Soto wants to be the highest overall contract in Major League history. He wants to surpass Ohtani at right around $700. We heard rumblings yesterday of even things potentially going north of $750 if this really continues a bidding war. We will soon find out. I have been under my personal belief from my own gut feeling that, again, has been wrong and right plenty of times. More wrong than right, we can honestly say that. But what I will say about my gut is that I really do believe that Juan Soto is going to be landing at least $700 million, north of $750 at this current rate. I think he already has his decision. I think right now it's all formality about hashing out all the little details, still hearing from some teams, but he has a pretty set in stone, I bet, where he wants to go. He's had a long, lengthy negotiation process to this point, and there's been all the reasons to believe that we're going to have a decision as soon as either late tonight, sometime Saturday, Sunday, heading into Monday, the beginning of winter meetings. I think the common belief right now is that he will have a decision over the next 48 hours or so, and then from there, even that becomes public, it will not become officially announced publicly that he is signing with a team where the medical is cleared and stuff until the winter meetings get here, which makes a lot of sense for him to be put on a pedestal and everything in between. So that is what I have to say on the Juan Soto circumstances there regarding Carlos Mendoza's son potentially, and we will soon find out more on that if we're going to find out anything. We have already seen Jim Bowden speak on this early this morning. I found the news last night, but I didn't want to jump to make a video on it right away because, again, I want to find out a little bit more, do a little bit more research my own on if it looks like that's actually accurate, if that's his son's page. After doing more due diligence leading into this morning, I'm led to believe that, I'm saying with confidence at least 85-90% that that's his son, and there's reasons to believe exactly why it is. But Jim Bowden went on to speak on this proposed contract, and he simply said that he doesn't see a world where anyone tops that offer if the Mets are already throwing $700 at him. At the same time, this is the same Jim Bowden who has been wrong on a lot of things. He's just sharing his opinion, so take that with a grain of salt, take that with more, however you want to go about it. But that's how Jim Bowden feels in these current circumstances. And also shout out my man Robbie Hyde, who we had on the channel a couple days ago, for noticing that the account account is no longer there, because last night, I kid you not, the account was there. Now it is nowhere to be seen that you can find on TikTok. It's almost like it blew up when he didn't realize it was going to blow up. He obviously dealt with backlash either from Carlos, from Mets PR in general, to say take it down, because the comments aren't even there either. I would like to make clear, they were originally there yesterday. I saw with my own very eyes. I have, again, the screenshots on my phone. I'm not lying to you guys. They are right here. Since then, however, they have been taken down early this morning, and you obviously have to understand the reason as to why that is. But furthermore, that I want to touch on was this very interesting quote, and shout out to Bavarian Sports Fan. He does a great job on quoting stuff from different sources throughout Boston's camp, Mets camp, Yankees camp, all throughout the course of the offseason. I double-checked just to confirm that was true from Sean McAdam, and it is, but it's from an article. This is just highlighting a quote from said article that came out earlier today, and it states the following, and this has to do with their GM and Craig I'm going to butcher the last name. Breslow? Okay, there we go. And I quote, "I think the only thing we want to avoid is putting ourselves in a position where the success of our offseason hinges on a single transaction, because there's just too much uncertainty around any of that." Now, I find that quote interesting because my initial thought process is, okay, so what you're telling me is this is almost like trying to save face should you not land Soto, knowing that if you do land him, you're probably going to have to allocate most of your eggs in one basket. Not that you can't spend and allocate in other areas, but it's harder, especially when you have an owner and Henry who has shown a willingness to spend over the years, hasn't done so much over the past number of years, and now you want him to shell out $700+ million and then some for the remainder of the roster. Easier said than done. He's making it abundantly clear that, simply put, it's not a smart move for any organization, for that matter, to be hinging everything on a single transaction. So simply put, the Red Sox are focused on not just Juan Soto, but all the other aspects around them, as they should. But I came out of this with this personal quote, if anything, a little bit more positive. Same way yesterday we heard public reporting that the Red Sox want to have a meeting with Juan Soto. Not sure if they've had it already or not, on trying to find out what specific number he's looking for in order to ink a deal. That reeks of desperation on that kind of leak in the media, in my opinion, especially after this came after we initially heard that, okay, it looks like that he may have final round of meetings this weekend, looking like a decision will be made this weekend as we then get into Monday, the beginning of winter meetings. Also, folks, we have heard that Brett Baty is officially getting trade calls. You know, the Mets are getting calls about Baty. Are they ready to make a move? Now, mind you, David Stern spoke glowingly of Baty going back to last offseason. Now the trade deadline, to reiterate how the Mets still see potential in him, and, you know, that they're not going to be trying to rush him out of town, anything of that nature. And it's also buy low season, as former Mets GM and former analytics guru during his time with the Boston Red Sox and Zach Scott highlighted that I want to share with all you guys right here. While the focus is on Soto, remember it's also buy low season. I can only imagine the sorry offers they're getting on Baty, and exactly why you shouldn't expect the Mets to just trade Baty for a bag of baseballs right now. They're going to keep up knowing that his value is low at this point in time, because it can be increased if he's a part of a bigger trade package versus him alone being traded. And also, the Mets can find themselves in a position where, as we get closer to the season, depending on how position battles go, and depending on how roster constructions are for all the organizations, Major League Baseball, trying to figure out the rosters in camp, that could be another time where the Mets really may heavily consider dealing Baty, if not by time we get throughout the season heading to the deadline, because the value's low right now. Is it easier to trade him, in my opinion, as part of a package deal where he's one of multiple assets for something greater? Yes. Whereas if you're trading him alone right now, you're really not going to be getting much of a return, and I think at that point it'd be more so for maybe Baty's career projection, with the assumption that he will not be breaking the Mets roster out of camp, barring changes. So Mets fans, let me know how you feel about the Brett Baty circumstances, along with all the latest on Juan Soto, on what Carlos Mendoza's son may or may not have, or unofficially leaked out there on the contract offer. Stay tuned, folks. We will be back live later this evening, barring breaking news type changes, because you never know what happens in the Juan Soto sweepstakes now. Right around 7:30 p.m. Eastern or so, I'll be doing our latest Big Mets update segment, talking more on this and further headlines I'm sure we will inevitably find out from now up until later this evening. And then a little bit in the show, I will be accompanied by Will Salmon, who does a fantastic job on the beat for the Mets through the Athletics. So until then, folks, I hope to see you there. Have a fantastic rest of your day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this. Buckle up, get ready. Soto sweepstakes are here. The watch is on, and we're going to cover it to a T like we have all off season long. Thank you guys for watching. As always, no matter what, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.